Hi, everybody, and thanks for coming to our Tuesday Cloud Now series. One of the things that I'm going to do today, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on what agent billing is in Darwin Cloud, because pretty much everybody on the call is already using agent billing to some extent. So we'll cover it briefly, but then I want to get into there's a lot of new features in cloud that you may or may not be taking advantage of to make agent billing faster and easier. And that's really what I want to dig into on today's call. So for anybody that's done agent billing in Darwin, then you know the main things that agent billing does using the wizard is it looks on the agent's profile and it sees every recurring charge that an agent is supposed to pay. It figures them out. And then it looks through accounts payable, all the bills you paid, to see if there's any bills that you paid that an agent should be paying you back for. And it gathers those expenses that an agent needs to pay you back for, plus their recurring bills, and it puts it all on an invoice for them. It creates an invoice for every agent. It puts it on your financials. It puts it on your balance sheet. And then if you have it set up for it, it puts them on and then if you're set up for it, it sends them an invoice. It sends them their invoice by email. So what we're going to talk about today is some of the new things that are happening in Darwin to make that faster and better. So for for starters, we're gonna look at new features that you can use for setting up the recurring billing for agents in terms of things they have to pay on a repetitive basis. We're going to make sure that everybody's clear on all the newest ways you can get agents to pay. We're going to talk about new options for classifying expenses for recovery from agents in the event that you paid a bill and they need to pay you back. And then finally, I want to spend a little bit of time going over how you can use the new chat technology to send text messages to agents to collect money from them if they didn't pay. So those are the things I'm going to cover today. So let's just dig right in. So the first thing I want to talk about is something kind of new. You could think of it as about agent billing cycles, or we call them here special categories. And I'm going to explain to you what these are and how you use them. This screen I'm in here is the drop-down list. And it could be that you have some charges, maybe MLS fees, maybe E&O fees, could be fees for anything that are not recurring in the normal way that agent billing is recurring. Normally, when agent billing is recurring, it means it's something that happens every month, or it happens only once a year in a certain month of the year. But what if you have something that happens on a recurring basis, but you don't really know exactly when? You don't know exactly when the E&O renewal bill is going to get sent out to you and need to be charged to agents, or you don't know when that new company billboard is going to be set out on the Highway 95 and everybody agreed to pay their fair share of the expense of it. So you could have things that recur once in a while, but they don't happen on a regular schedule. And that is where you would use this new feature called billing special categories. Now you can set up an unlimited list here of different categories for your agent billing, for special billing. And then on the agent's profile, if you look at the agent's profile, normally a charge happens, like you can see here at the top of the screen, in all months. Or if it's a once a year, it might only happen in December, or it might only happen in October, it might only happen in November. But you can add a charge here to say this some line item is a charity billing or an E&O billing or an MLS fee billing, that it doesn't happen every month. It doesn't happen in a certain month of the year, but this billing should only happen when I decide, for instance, to do E&O billing, and it's not tied to the calendar, it's not every month, it's not a particular month of the year, it's only when you want to run it on demand. So if you have things that are recurring, but when they are recurring is not clearly defined, you can set up a special billing category for that. Put the recurring things on the agent's profile and set this charge to the special billing feature. And I'll show you guys at the end of the call today. I'll show you how to actually use that in practice. So that's about recurring bills that's not on schedule. That's a big new feature. The other thing that I want to show you that is especially useful for new recruits and whatever is each of the billing items can have a start and an end date. So it could be that you have a charge for an agent that doesn't start until maybe 3 months after they join you. And let's say, for instance, you have a desk fee that agents have to pay or an association fee for being with you, but it doesn't start till 3 months after they join. You could fill in a start date for that, and even though it's scheduled to happen in every month, it won't start happening until the start date. That gives you a way to do delayed recurring billing. The other thing is you could have some items that are billable, but only for a fixed period of time. So let's say you had a recurring charge for mentorship services, and that's supposed to happen every month, but only starting next month and ending 12 months from now. So you can set an item in here with a start and an end date if you have a recurring charge, again, that is limited in duration. And the start and the end date are just to the right on the agent's profile in the billing section. And you can use those on any items. If you leave it blank, it's all months. If you only fill in the start date, it starts on that date, but it goes forever. If you fill in an end date, that charge after that date will stop being charged to the agents. So anyway, that can be really useful for recurring billing. All right, next I want to talk about new ways for agents to pay. So probably most of you have seen when an agent logs into darwin.Cloud with their own personal login, they can go to the tools menu, they can click on credit card ACH, and they can pay their bill by credit card or they can pay their bill by bank account withdrawal. They can do that dynamically on their own. Probably most of you have seen this screen already. But the other thing that especially customers that have been with Counttech for a long time, you may not know that in the email campaign designer now, you can add a link to the agent's email that gives them like in this case, the client put click here to pay, and it's a hyperlink in their email. So the agent gets an email without logging into Darwin, without even having access to darwin.Cloud, I think. But in any case, without having to log all the way into Darwin, they can click this link on their email. And when they click that link, they'll get that pop-up to pay by credit card or bank account withdrawal. So the email might look something like this. The email comes to them and it looks something like this. And down here at the bottom, it says click here to pay online. And it pops up that credit card window where they can pay by credit card or pay by ACH, but do it right from email without having to log into darwin.Cloud. So that again is something that it makes just more sense to use to collect payments from agents. Collect from them right from the email. All right, let's move on. So the next thing I want to cover is a little bit more in depth. This is reimbursement billing. So everybody knows, I think, that when you are paying a bill to the MLS or paying a bill to the printer or the marketing company or the magazine company or the MLS, you can take a line item on the bill and expense it to an agent instead of expensing it to the office. And if you do that, when you run the monthly billing for the agents, that line item from the bill will get charged to that'll get charged to the agent automatically on their monthly bill. But there's some new ways that you can do reimbursable expenses also. We're going to look at that. So if you have bank charges streaming in from your bank using the bank stream feature that's in Darwin now. So in this case, there's a customer who has Darwin hooked up to their TD Bank business account. And when a bill comes in with certain criteria, it could be charged to a certain GL account, expensed that way automatically, but it could also be set up that whenever a charge comes in from that vendor, automatically put it to bill it to Brandy, or automatically bill it to Bridget or Caitlin or whatever. So the use case for this is if you have something that you pay out of your bank account on an auto draft. It's like the perfect example is something that's on auto pay, but when that auto pay is charged to the company, it's always supposed to be charged to the agents. You can use BankStream to catch that incoming charge on the bank account streaming data and automatically charge it to the agent every time the charge comes in. And that works for any charge for any bank that you have hooked up to BankStream. The other thing now that you can do is, and it doesn't have to be the accounting department, anybody in your company, if the agent comes up to the front desk of your office and says, hey, can I get some signs out of the storeroom? Or can I get some bulk postage? Or can I make 1,000 copies? Or whatever it might be, some service or product that the agent wants to buy from you, you can, and your staff people, not even it doesn't have to be the accounting department, they can use the new company store feature, and under bills, they can go down here to orders. They can select whatever it was that they provided to the agent, and the system will bill the agent and do all the accounting for the agents automatically without the staff people having to turn it over to accounting for them to enter later. This is a great way to control stuff getting out of the storeroom without having to write it down for the accounting department to bill later at the end of the month. Just let the front desk people use the company store feature and just charge the agent for the item as they give it to them. Now, for those people that have multiple companies, you can do agent reimbursements now also through intercompany accounts payable. So for those of you that are familiar with intercompany accounting, let's say that you own multiple companies, and one of the companies you own is called Account Tech, and the Account Tech got a bill for American Airlines, and the Account Tech paid the bill for American Airlines, but it was actually supposed to be charged to Century 21 Massachusetts. So in this case, the bill comes in, and for whatever reason, we're paying the bill out of one of our companies, but it's billable to one of our other companies that we own. So in this case, when you're paying the bill out of one company, you can say, expense this bill to one of my other companies and charge $111 to the Boston office, but then also charge $222 to this agent that's in the Century 21 Massachusetts company. And in the Century 21 Massachusetts company, charge Julie $333. So Account Tech is going to pay the whole bill for $666, but when paying the bill, the system is going to automatically invoice Century 21 Massachusetts to pay us back because we paid the bill for them. And it's going to put part of the expense to the Boston office that's part of Century 21 Massachusetts, and part of it automatically on John's monthly invoice, and part of it automatically on Julie's invoice. So pay the bills out of one company, but charge the expenses to one of the agents in another one of the companies that you own. It's super effective. All right, moving on. The next thing I want to talk about is the divide expense wizard. Now, if you're on the bills section under enter bills, the divide expense button is way over here on the right. Now, you use the divide expense wizard primarily, its primary use case is when you've got a charge that's come in and you want to split it up across a whole bunch of your offices, or you want to split it up against a whole bunch of your agents. So you can take a bill and you can specify right on page 1, should this bill be divided between a bunch of agents or should it be divided between a bunch of offices? And for our discussion today, we're going to talk about bills that should be charged to a bunch of agents. So using this little wizard that's up here with the divide expense wizard, I'll say, charge this to a bunch of agents. Now, the next step of this, it's going to ask you a couple of things, and this is really important here. You could use this wizard to put in a bill that needs to be paid to a vendor. So a bill comes in from Amazon.com or a bill comes in from a printer, and you actually need to pay the bill, but you need to pay the bill and you need to charge it to a bunch of agents. So you need to pay the vendor and you need to split the bill up between a lot of agents. But sometimes what you want to do is charge all of your agents some one-time charge that needs to be on everybody's bill, and you want to do it all at once instead of having to do it one at a time. You can use the wizard for that. So on this screen, it's also going to ask you, do you want to charge every agent an equal amount? So you could say, yes, I want to charge every agent $100, or I want to charge every agent $300, or whatever it might be. But it's also going to give you the option to divide a bill. So you could say you got a bill from the printer for $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, and you want to divide it equally amongst all the agents. So you could, again, you could charge every agent the same amount for this wizard, or you could charge all, you could take a lump sum amount and set it up so that all the agents pay their fair share of that charge. So as you go through the wizard, in step 3, it asks you who is the vendor and what description do you want to have on the agent's bill and so forth. But in the end, it shows you a list of all your agents, and you can charge this charge to all of your agents, or you can charge it to some of your agents, select some, deselect some. You can even ask the system to show you terminated agents if you have some terminated agents that you want to back bill them for something after the fact. But you check off the agents. By default, with this little checkbox up here, it'll charge all of your agents to participate in this charge. And then when you finish this up, if any of you have ever entered a voucher, a payable voucher, and you divided it between lots and lots of agents, let's say you've got 200, 300, 500, 1,500 agents. It's a heck of a lot faster to use the divide expense wizard and put in a line for every agent than it is to type this out manually, all your agents one by one. And at the end, the total amount entered will be right here, and that's how much you'll pay the vendor. So the divide expense wizard, you can use that for taking a bill and dividing it between lots of agents, or you can use it for just having a lump sum amount you want to charge to all agents in the company and do it easily without so much data entry. Alrighty, let me stop here for a minute. Teresa, questions? Anything in the chat that has come up that we should talk about?
Not that I can see that we haven't been able to answer. We're kind of general anyway. Yeah. Adam also put in the chat there's some screen steps for getting to the resources for agent billing, just kind of all the different topics. So everything that we're talking about, there's a link to that in the chat if you guys want to check that out as well.
Great. So one of the other things that everybody always needs to talk about, and it's always been this, is yes, you often have to worry about collections. So one of the things that people can do now is they can use the chat feature in Darwin Cloud to try to help them with collections. Now, I don't know if everybody knows about the chat feature in Darwin Cloud, but for those of you who haven't seen it before, there's a little, at the bottom of the screen down here, there's a little chat bubble right here at the lower right-hand side of the screen. And if you're, let's say in this case, I'm on the invoice screen and I'm looking at a bill that an agent owes, while looking at this bill that an agent owes, I can click this little chat icon here. And if this is the agent, I can send them a text message from Darwin asking them when they're going to pay their bill. The agent receives that from Darwin as a text message, and there's a hyperlink in the text message that they can respond to right from their phone and answer your question from their phone from the text message. And your question to them and their response back to you will all be saved in the chat history. You see chat right here? It'll store in the chat history of this invoice. Something important to know that for those of you guys that haven't used Darwin text chat, if you send a text message to an agent or an owner or a manager or another employee or a buyer or seller, you send anybody a text message using Darwin chat. When they respond to you, if there's a response from somebody that you sent a message to, up here at the top menu next to the chat, there'll be a little green notification dot. And that little green notification dot means somebody has answered you something, and you should click there and see what it is that they said. So if I'm on the invoice screen and I send a chat to this agent, then the history of this chat will be saved with this invoice right here under the chat hyperlink that's right on the invoice screen. But you can send chats for any purpose at all, but especially you can send them for collections from really any part of Darwin. So that's what we're going to talk about now. So for instance, let's say you're on the agent's profile, and here on the agent's profile, you're looking on the billing screen, and you see this agent currently owes you $435, So that's great. We know that this agent owes us that much money. So we click here on this little chat icon down at the bottom, and it pops up. It says, I see you owe us money. You need to pay. What's the matter for you? You got to pay, or however you want to word it. Now, when you're on the agent's profile, if you send a message to them by chat, again, they'll get it by text message. They can respond if they want to, right from their phone. But down here on the agent's profile under chat, it says chat/notes. The history of you asking them a question and them answering will be right here. But you can also think about using this for when you're doing commissions. So this agent has a pending deal, and I'm getting ready to close the property, and I click this little refresh button here, and I see that he owes me $435, so I'm taking it out of this closing. So what you can do if you want to, before you even close the deal, you can go here, send him a little message, just to let you know we're taking this money out of this property. They'll get that as a text message. That'll keep them from being surprised when they get their bill and there's $400 taken out of it. So you can use the chat from all over the software to send messages to agents, and you can track the history of the message. And we find that text messages seem to get answered more frequently than emails do. So that's why we have chat all over the software now. All right. The last thing that I want to cover today, and then we'll just open it up for questions on whatever people want to talk about, is I showed you right at the beginning of this call, this new feature about special billing. So once a month or however often you do, you go to sales, you go to invoices, and you click the agent billing wizard right up here. Now, it used to be the system would start out by asking you, do you want to bill agents, or do you want to, do REO bank-owned properties or whatever? Who do you want to bill? So you would say agents, but now you have the option to do you want to do regular monthly billing for them or special billing? This is important. So if you choose regular monthly billing and you proceed through this this invoicing process. So now we're in the month of May. So on the agent's profile, any charges on the agent's profile that are flagged to be billed in all months, they will be billed this month. Or if they're flagged to be billed in May, they'll be on the invoice created by this wizard. But let's say there's a recurring item on the agent's profile that's flagged as, a special E&O billing or a special MLS billing or something. Those items on the agent's profile where it's not flagged to be all months or it's not flagged to be a special month, a certain month of the year, those won't be invoiced when I run this wizard. It's only if you click special billing that those items will get charged. Now, if you are using the wizard and you choose special billing, you can pick any of the items that you've set up for special billing, and the wizard will go through and it'll invoice all the agents for these special items, but it won't bill anything that's flagged to say this is a charge in all months. This is a thing that should only be charged in May or April or June or whatever. It'll only charge things that are flagged to be when you're running special E&O billing. So you can have items recurring on agents' profiles that don't always get billed, are not flagged to happen in a certain month, but they're only supposed to get charged when you do special billing and pick the special billing wizard that you want to run. And then every agent profile that has that recurring charge on their profile that's flagged in this category, those are the amounts that'll be billed and those are the agents that'll be billed. So if there are some agents in your company, they're active agents, but on their profile, they don't have miscellaneous MLS fees in their recurring charges, they won't be charged. Only the agents that have the special billing item as recurring on their profile. If you choose special billing, then those are the only people that'll get charged, and this is the only amounts that'll get charged. And that's how you use the new special billing feature.
So, quick question there, just because looking at somebody else might be. If by coincidence your E&O billing and miscellaneous MLS fee happen to be happening the same time, you would still need to run it twice, one for each of them. You can't select multiple special billings, correct?
Correct.
Great.
Yeah, no, that's very, very important because the special billings, you could think of it as kind of like ad hoc billing.
Yeah.
Or on-demand billing. And it selects very exclusively for that one special billing category. So for instance, if you did regular billing for May, and it wouldn't include any of these things. And then just coincidentally, the miscellaneous office charge, the miscellaneous MLS fee, and the E&O fee also all happened in May. I mean, it's crazy, but if something like that happened, you'd actually have to run the wizard 4 times. Once for regular billing. I mean, the wizard is only 3 clicks, so it goes fast, but you'd have to run it once for regular billing, once for E&O, one for MLS, once for office charge. Of course, that never happens, but that's what you would have to do. That's the right question.
Great.
All right. Teresa, any other questions we can deal with from you guys or anybody? You can open up the audio now for anybody that wants to ask a question about anything.
Yeah, I don't see, I was gonna say, I don't see any new
Right.
questions. So yeah,
I have,
you
yeah,
got some?
I have one question that got brought to my integrations Q&A that I was able to answer, but I figured we'd cover it here since we're doing agent billing.
Sure.
Surprisingly, when you have, say, a change to the E&O for the year, and you want to update that for all agents, how do you do that?
Oh, that's a great question. So I don't have Darwin open right now, but when you go to people, and let's say the E&O fee, everybody has the E&O fee. It's charged once a year in June. And everybody has it flagged as June and it's supposed to be $70. But this year it's gone up to $170. So all you do is you bring up any agent in your company, any agent at all that has that charge, and you go down to here. I can show this to you, I think. No, maybe I can't. But you go to that age on the agent's profile. I can show you here. So here
Okay.
under, I
I'm
think
in
it's
Darwin.
under,
Do you want me to show you?
oh yeah, please. That'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. I had myself on mute, so I didn't even
Sorry.
realize that you couldn't hear me
Yeah.
saying that I could share. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So, all right. So I'm in an agent record.
Yep.
All right.
So
And
let's say the office lease for everybody this month is going to change to $190.
okay.
Or any of these things, it's going to change,
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Let's just let's
Right.
do that. Let's do this one here, this 150
All right, so
the
change it to,
monthly.
yeah, let's say, that we've decided to change it to 550. Great, so you change it for this one agent and then click save. And then this update only for this agent, update for agents on the same commission plan, update agents in the same office, update agents in the same company, or update for everybody. And you click update for everybody, and every agent in Darwin that has this item on their profile will get the new price.
There you go.
Will it
That's all
add
there
it
is.
to people who don't have that item, or will it
No, no,
only
no.
update it for existing people
It'll
Yeah.
update it for existing people.
who have it? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to reports and you look and you Google, you search for using Google as the word for search. If you search for the word billing, there's a
Mhm.
report that shows what are the billing items on each agent's profile.
Mhm.
So that's a way that you can agent billing setup, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It's the
Is it
top
the
item
first
there.
one? Yeah, the first one.
And then that shows you
No.
the items. No, no, not that one.
There
Yeah.
you go.
And it lets you see, yeah, if you run that report, it'll let you see what billing items are on each agent's profile.
Mhm.
So
And the agent onboarding wizard is a great way to not forget to put the recurring billing on a new agent. So
it's absolutely true.
that'll be a
All
topic
right.
down the road.
Yeah.
Is there a way, say that you have something that charges the 1st of May for everybody? When you
Mhm.
onboard a new agent, is there a way to prorate their first month, or does that have to be entered as a separate item?
Usually what people do in that kind of scenario, Teresa, would you go back to the billing?
Mm-hmm.
No, the people screen, I'm sorry, people billing. What folks normally do, Adam, for that is they put the recurring item on. Let's say that you had somebody that started today, right?
Mm-hmm.
For that interior exterior maintenance, the second item,
Mm-hmm.
okay? You would put it in, you would put that in as starting June 1st, 2025 for the full amount every month starting on June 1st. And then for the partial month, you would have a separate item, a prorated item, Adam, that was a fractional dollar amount that started May 1st and ended May 31st.
Got it.
So it would only be charged in that 1 month and for a different amount, and it would essentially age out at the end of May. And the regular recurring one starts June 1st. It's a good way to do it so you don't forget.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think using the billing notes box there too is also useful if you have any special things about how a particular agent's billing is set up, if it's out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely true. Because the idea, of course, is the issue is whoever does agent billing, the setup here and the notes should be so clear that they can go on vacation on the week of agent billing and it still happens okay. That's
Mm-hmm.
in a perfect world.
Yep.
Jen asked a question from Banks, a question related to BankStream. Adam, do you see it there?
Nope.
Teresa, did you see it? I just saw it pop up in somebody's window.
Did you send it directly to you?
Here we go. How do you
Oh.
get the update to charge agents from the bank stream? Mine only gives the option to bill an office.
This is a very important question, and I don't think Account Tech is going to have a perfect answer till sometime very late in 2025. But when you charge something from a bank stream, if the charge in the bank stream is coming from a bank recurring charge, Darwin is set up to be able to charge a incoming expense from a withdrawal from your bank account, like an auto debit from your bank account. It's set up to be able to charge it to an office or an agent. But if the incoming charge is on a credit card, we haven't yet figured out how to automatically charge something for agents that showed up on a credit card, but the company might not have paid the credit card yet. So we're still struggling internally at Account Tech to figure out how to do that. So when you're setting up the bank stream stuff, if you're setting up a bank stream rule for a charge that's an auto debit from the bank account, in fact, let me bring it up. I can show it to you. Got it here somewhere. Yeah, let me show you. Teresa, I'm going to share my screen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. So when you're setting up a bank stream item, you see up here, it says the bank account. If this is a bank account debit, then you can charge it to an office or you can charge it to an agent. But if the rule is for a credit card, at Account Tech, we haven't figured out how to pass credit card charges on to agents yet. I'm sure we'll figure it out by the end of the year, but it's a little tricky because some people have said that they want to pass through agent credit card charges, but only when they pay their credit card, not when the credit card charge first comes in. And so we got to figure out some way to handle that so it meets the needs of everybody. So for now, BankStream, it only works for stuff that's paid by auto debit from the bank account. That was a very good question.
Mark, how do you set up the special billing items? Because I'm in a couple databases and I don't see that in the agent billing.
Yeah, it took me a little bit to find it.
Yeah,
And
you
it
go to
came
the drop-down list, right?
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
where you have the
Jamie.
drop-downs, and then you go to other.
Yeah, nice,
Other,
Jamie.
sorry, getting
Let me
dizzy.
show it. Sorry. So you go to, in the drop-down list, you
in
go
the
to
drop down
other,
under other, you have to add it.
Under billing special categories.
billing
So you have
special
to-
categories right up to the top.
Got it. So you have to
Okay.
add special categories before that's available in the drop down to add to agent billing.
That's right. As soon as and you can have an unlimited number of special categories, but that's how you do it.
More
Teresa,
security.
you got it?
No, they're more security questions, so I'm just trying to make sure certain folks actually have certain things enabled.
Oh, yeah, right. Because a lot of these screens we're talking about, like the drop-down list screen,
Mm-hmm.
or the agent billing wizard, or the billings on the agent's profile, if you don't have security clearance for that, well then,
You won't be able to get there.
you won't, you can't
True.
get there from here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tomorrow, again, as Teresa introduced at the beginning, tomorrow at the workshop, we're gonna help anybody that wants help setting up special billing, setting up recurring billing, customizing the charges and the prices that agents pay for this, that, and the other thing. If anybody wants a tutorial or a practice on the Divide Expense Wizard, that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow at 2:00.
Well, Julie from Macklemore is interested in learning because she just started over there and didn't get much training and is interested in learning more about setting up the basic agent billing too. So and
so Julie, log in early with a list of your like recurring billing that you want to have, as well as the other thing you have to think about when you're setting up agent billing is, I'm going to charge the agents each month for this, I'm going to charge them for that, I'm going to charge them for whatever. But what is the income or expense account when the agent is charged? What is the expense category or the income category that the revenue should flow into on the P&L? Give that some thought, because that's one of the things we'll cover. And we'll set those up tomorrow, Julie, during the call.
Donna Phipps is asking, Can you restrict the special categories per office or company, or is it global? So like if they have one special billing group for one of their companies, but not another.
So right here on this screen that you're on, Mark, it appears to me it's global.
Yeah.
It's a global thing, yeah.
There's not a company or office.
Yeah, no, that's true. Now, Donna, I mean, I think the thinking was when we made it global is that if, let's say, in your company, you've got a Century 21 company that pays this, that, and the other thing as a special billing. But you also have a Sotheby's company that doesn't pay those things. You just wouldn't put those things on the agent's profile. Because remember, all this is doing is making things possible on the agent's profile. But if it ain't on the agent's profile, it's not gonna magically appear there. There's not an option to say, take E&O charges and I don't think there is. Is there to give it to all agents? I guess you could do that if you wanted to. So no, I guess you're right, Donnie. That you could mess that up by putting charges on agents in the wrong company. If you went to that screen that Teresa was showing us before, and you meant to put a charge on all agents in your Century 21 company, but instead you said put it on all agents and it went to your agents in your Coldwell Banker company and your Sotheby's company like that, that could get all messed up. But remember if you do something like that and you're on the agent screen and you put in a charge accidentally on all agents, when you delete that charge from one agent, the system is going to ask you, would you like me to delete this charge from all agents? So if you ever do make a mistake like that, you can just delete them all from the all agents and then do it again and do it just for that one company. That might be the way to get at that. That was a good question. Something I never even thought of before, to be honest. All right, any last questions before we wrap up? Hopefully we'll see some of you guys tomorrow for the workshop, and that's at 2 o'clock tomorrow.
That's good. And there's a few conversations I'm having on the side, so I will make sure to follow up with you guys outside of this. So, all right.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Have a good day.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.
Bye.